Facebook Live. Make sure Facebook was 3, 2, 1. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're at in the US or somewhere around the world. Most important thing, I hope you're all healthy and safe. That's the most important thing nowadays. Remember, we always talk about it on the show. Health is number one. Do your jogging, drink plenty of water, right? Get your sleep, vitamins, exercise, vitamin D, do all that stuff. This is a great time to, if you do it slowly, a little bit at a time, if you're interested in losing weight, you'll do that. If you try to do it all at once, it's not going to help you. But the most important thing is to have a great, strong immune system. So, folks, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. We got another great show for you. Before we start, just a couple announcements. That is, don't forget, do me a favor. We're live on Facebook. If you got any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments section. If you're on YouTube, you can check it out there. If you want to go to YouTube later, go to Peter Caliendo on YouTube. And then don't forget the audio goes on baseballoutsidethebox.com. Do us a favor, just subscribe to the show. And if you really like the shows, just do us another favor and just get them out to people that you know. The more you get them out, the more we got a better chance of reaching more people when it comes to baseball development. Well, here we are. We're going to bring you, this is exciting. I'll tell you why, because one, it's the San Diego Padres. Two, it's what? It's an exciting ball club. And three, they've got a guy who's going to sign for over $300 million. I think he's one of the most exciting guys on the planet right now. And that's Mr. Tatis Jr. We're going to talk about him. But the man that's been with the Padres for 5 years, he's got a long career when it comes to playing. He's played at all levels, played in Mexico, played independent ball. He's got like 14 plus years just as a player. So, as a player, you're going to learn a lot by being around good coaches. The double-A hitting coach for 3 years. He would have been fourth, but it was because of the pandemic. They didn't have the minors. Let me welcome, this is going to be exciting. We're going to have a lot of fun with him. We're going to talk some hitting, some other things. Raul Padron. Raul, what's up, buddy?
Peter, how you doing, man? Thank you for having me. This is amazing. I'm super excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I wonder if I do this right. Raul, mucho gusto, no? Mucho gusto que estás sulla mia televisione ahora.
You got that right. Mucho gusto.
I'm trying a little bit. But listen, buddy, I want to start with your career because, 14 years playing pro ball, at different levels, all the coaches you've, gone through. Talk about a learning process. I know you want to, you love baseball, by the way, coming from Venezuela, one of the best countries when it comes to baseball in the world, some of the finest people in the world too. I'm lucky I get a chance to travel the world, and I love Venezuela. Let me ask you, so from all that years that you played, you had all these coaches, what was the one or two big things that you learned from these guys or gals, whether it be hitting or whether it be just coaching in general? After all those years, you figured it out,
right?
What they helped you with.
Yeah, I think number one, Peter, is respect. I think that's one of the biggest thing that I learned, during my whole career. Those during all those years. I think that was number one thing for me. The respect. And the other one is how to create a great relationship with every coach. With every teammate that you have. Being able to help your teammates. I learned a lot from that. When first time my coach says like, hey man, your best coach is gonna be your teammate. I was a little weird for me, like
Yeah.
that's like what, like what are you trying to say? It took me a couple years to figure that out, but he was right. He was totally right. Why is the reason why is just because your teammates watching you every single pitch, every single at bat. Like your coach is watching too, but he only had two eyes. And he's not able to, you know, he got to go first to 13 hitters. Maybe if he has 14, it's gonna be tough for him to say something. He might forget something about that night or whatever. A little detail, which is like your teammate's gonna keep. Like if you have good relationship with them, they won't forget. They will tell you right away, like, "Hey man, I'm seeing this. You should make that little adjustment."
Yeah, you know what? I can see that because they've got, and it's interesting because it's pretty competitive in the minors, but yet guys still help each other, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
you are teammates.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, that we're competing against each other, but at the end of the day, we're friends, like we all want to get to the one goal is playing the big leagues, but at the same time, we got to play together. We got to stay as a unit, as a family. we got to grow together. I think that's the best way to put it, as a team, because sometimes like competing can sound like a little weird. Yeah, competing against you. Yeah, I am, but in a good way. I'm gonna help you to success, and you're gonna help me to success. So, it's a good way to be competing against each other.
Absolutely. What about your coaches? What's one thing that possibly a coach told you when as a hitter, and it could have been at any time in your career, that one thing that stuck in your mind, one made you better, but two, you use a lot now.
Well, one of the biggest thing, one I gotta mention his name. His name is he's actually the hitting coach with the Oakland A's right now, Darren Bush.
Hmm.
Darren Bush helped me a lot through my career. I have the opportunity to be his player for a couple of years. First, he was a hitting coach. Then he became a manager. And high A, that was in Stockton back then. And then double A was in Midland here in the Texas League. One of the biggest thing he mentioned to me, it's like I always tell this to my hitters. It was kind of funny because he just say like, "Are you seeing the ball?"
You're thinking, is
you
this guy
know,
crazy? Right? I mean, of course, but that's a great question, really, if you think
it
about it.
is. It is. It is amazing because I was like, "What? Yeah, you're seeing the ball?" Oh, yes, I guess. I was like, I guess I'm seeing the ball. But okay. So then he can explain to me a little bit, like, okay, let's see, go out there get on the bus and try to watch one pitch from the pitcher hands to the end of the play. Like when the catcher catches, don't swing at it, even if it's caught shot. You can drive that ball. Just take it. Just take it for a stride. Let's see what happened. Then you tell me your feedback after that at bat. Doesn't matter what happened, okay? So I went to the bus because I was having a kind of hard time. That was in high A, I was struggle a little bit. And it wasn't really much going on. But when he mentioned that to me, he told me like, try to do this. So I went to the bus, okay, let me take one pitch, but I'm gonna take it like I'm going to swing that pitch.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be just a regular take where I'm gonna put my bat on my shoulders and just wait for it. So, I took that pitch, when that guy was in his release point, whatever, I take a look at the ball through the glove as a catcher. Was like, oh my God, I really see that ball. Like,
Mm.
I was like, I almost I can see, the almost the letters. I saw something blue. I was like, okay. So next pitch, he threw me a changeup because they were killing me with the changeup. So that was gonna, I was tired of it. So I took that change. I said, "Oh my God, I really saw that change that coming." I wasn't taking that at that time. After I got one strike, cock shot, fine. Next pitch, soon that I know another change. He hang it, I hit a double.
Mm.
And then you see my smile at second base because he was at third base. He was the manager at that time. He was smiling at me. He was like,
Yeah.
you see the ball."
Yeah.
So
Love it.
that was one of the bigger thing that a coach told me about my hitting time at
Yeah.
that moment. That was huge. And go ahead if you want to.
No, I was going to say, and for our young coaches just starting,
Mhm.
let's say, or because the shows, thank goodness, we've got over 100 countries, people listening from 100 countries to the podcast. You know, if you're a parent or you're a coach, folks, remember there's a difference between saying to a young player, "Watch the baseball," because that's what they're trying
Yes.
to do. But
Yep.
what Raul just said, he said, "Are you seeing the ball?" That's a big difference
It
because
is huge.
here's what I'm going to ask you, Raul, because when you say, "Are you seeing the ball?" If when you were struggling not seeing the ball, what did you focus on? That you had to go back to something, or how did what was your main focus point?
Yeah, when I wasn't seeing the ball, I was just like, okay, reading his getting the timing from himself, like when he was starting to go, releasing his hands from his glove. I was just seeing his body. I
Mm,
wasn't paying attention to the baseball.
yeah.
That was different, that's from that point on my career, I was totally a different hitter,
Wow.
because I finally start seeing the ball, like, okay, where's the ball at? Because the pitcher's trying to hide the ball the whole time.
Yeah.
They get the ball in the glove and they try to have it right behind it. But if you stay focused on see the ball, it's gonna be a little wide thing over there, then it's gonna be different because you will know like, okay, the ball's coming now. Now I'm getting ready. So I was completely out of timing. You know, and I think that's one of the biggest thing for timing. The biggest thing for any hit is timing. Besides all the techniques and all that stuff, approach, plan, but the timing is one of the hardest ones to get. To get set through the season. So
Yeah. Talk about that since you hit on timing, because I'm also going to go back and talk about relationships in a little bit. But
yeah,
timing, because since you're on that, um, everybody throws different speeds. You don't know what they're throwing at that time. So how does a timing mechanism work for you in your body? Now you said it perfectly. See, if you're watching the ball real well, that should help a great deal, obviously, because then the brain can compute a lot of things. But when do I get started? What does that mean? And all that.
yeah, right. I mean, hitters, older hitters who experience, they will have some key. When to start, when you're gonna start, when you see that ball coming. But for a young hitter, it's a little different. That, like I say, they normally start with the pitchers moving, or
Mhm.
when they finally find the ball, kind of on halfway, where like they won't have any chance to hit the ball. But like the way we're trying to teach our guys, the younger guys especially, it's always like try to get ready for the fastball. Like, but that won't be only the only thing that we're gonna say. To be able to do that, we always go like, okay, let's work on your lower half. How's your lower half doing? Why we talk about that? I mean, I love lower half on hitters. Why is that? Because first of all, you're gonna be able to recognize pitches. Your head's not gonna move. Like normally do with younger hitters. They want to move all their body to maybe create power or bat speed or whatever, which is not right.
Yeah.
And the more balance you have, the easier it's gonna be for you to see the ball. That's one of the biggest thing for me. I try always to keep them super tight. And on down in the lower half, just to like, I try to untie them pretty much when I'm working with them. Like they don't feel free at all. Especially from that lower half. I just trying to keep everything together. Everything connected. That's why they call it these days. A good connection. So back to the timing. It's like depends because in these days you have some pitchers they throw whatever. They might go to the winner like this Dominican guy. Oh, I forgot his name. He's a big leaguer.
Yeah, some
You know,
pause, do a double pause.
yeah, double pause, double leg key,
Yeah.
things like that. They all do that and like kind of quick pitch and
Well, they're
but
trying, they're trying
for
to mess up your timing, right?
yes, they're trying to mess up your timing because they know soon as you lost that, they're in ahead, they're in advance in that game, that's what they're trying to do. But that's why I always, you gotta as a hitter, you always have to find a key, like maybe you gotta start when that leg key is coming down,
Mm.
when the guys from the windup or from the stretch is a little different, he might can do a little quick step, I mean slide step, so you can go with the hands. I think for me the hands is a huge one.
Mm.
And that when he start here, then you can have plenty time to start your timing. Might be you might be too early, but it's okay. You always want to be early. It's better than being late, like, because you're gonna be able to adjust. Okay, that I was too early with this. Let me wait a little longer. Maybe when he's starting to release the ball, so I'm going to start. All depends, what type of approach a hitter have. Maybe if you have a big, huge leg key, he better start early. Like
Yeah.
from right here. He might be, quick step hitter, so he will have some plenty time. It's all depends on the hitter, like we will see, like I say, maybe a long leg key or short leg key or toe tap, things like that.
And talk about, because the the body's got to move, right? So if once the pitcher starts, the hitter's body has to do something, and it also, everybody's a little different, so they don't all do it the same. You mentioned all different
Yep.
toe taps and everything.
hmm
How about the weight of the body? What does that do?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like you got to keep your weight in between your legs. That's the best way to go. because sometimes you see some hitters that are like a rocking shirt, they go back and then they go forward. So you
Right.
don't want to do that because many things are going to happen. You're going to drop the barrel, you're going to slow down your swing, you're going to lose your posture. As many things that are going to come together, and you won't have the power that you should have because you're not using that lower half the right way. So it's like pretty much it will be difficult. So for me, it's like try to keep your weight between your legs. That's gonna be the best way for a hitter to be able to react. Even if they get a little late, to the fastball, whatever, they will be able to at least to foul it off. And then the feeling is gonna be better than being moving, having so many moving parts with your body.
Raul, what about some drills? I know it's a podcast, so it's hard, but maybe
Yeah,
a couple drills that you could do with young players or even older players to
yeah.
work on this timing, because it's
Hmm.
going to have to also transfer in the game eventually.
Yes, yes. I mean, the best reel for any hitter it can do for timing is tracking bullpens.
Hmm.
That's huge one. I mean, every time you got a chance to go to practice, and some guys got a bullpen, go ahead, grab your helmet, grab your bat, and work in that timing
Yeah,
because none of those guys gonna be the same. None of them.
right.
So you can have different approaches, with
Different
different
pitches.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, number one is that like for the time and tracking. We're doing it in the big leagues. Big leaguers are doing this
yeah.
daily. This is not like, yeah, little guys, rookie ball. No, no, this is big leaguers are doing this right now. If they have a season, they go out through the bullpen every single day. Get that timing down. If they feel good about it, okay, they won't be there that night or whatever. But that's one of the huge drill for that.
But what about as a coach? Um, and let's say we're going to say hitting coach, but
Hmm.
I'm not convinced that you're really a hitting
Yeah.
coach because
Hmm.
a lot of times you're not really working on the hitting part. You're working on the mental.
Yeah.
Mental seems to be so
Yeah.
strong. Talk about that area a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that I think that's super important. That is huge, for me as a coach to show my player that I care for him, on the mental side of the game. It's not only I don't care if he doesn't get a hit that night. I mean, it doesn't matter. I played the game. I know how hard it is,
Hmm.
and I need to let my player know about that. I got to make sure that he knows that I don't care if he went 0 for 5 with 5 Ks. It doesn't matter. Tomorrow we're gonna go get it again. We're gonna do our work and get back to the game and see what happens. So, that part, I think during my career, I have to work a lot, to get better. And it was like I didn't have a chance to think about like, oh, this is too hard, because at my point, where I have my family pretty much on my shoulders. Like I was the guy. I was a guy that I have to go to the States and make some money and do good no matter what.
Yeah.
So that was tough because baseball, you never know if you're gonna do good or not. So it was kind of tough, but I got good coaches. I grew up playing with the Oakland A's. They were excellent coaches. Talking about the mental part of the game, they were nice. Especially, again, Darren Bush. He was one of the best for that. He was so calm. He seems like he was playing for 100 years this game. To me because he was so calm. It was like, why are you so worried? He asked me one night, what are you so worried about? What happened tonight? It was the end of the war that day for me. Then we start talking like, hey man, you just gotta, you gotta realize that you're gonna have an opportunity tomorrow. You're gonna play tomorrow again, and then you're gonna have a chance to prepare yourself before the game better than you did today. Maybe a better plan, maybe let's see what maybe better approach at the play, something like that. But going back to that mental side of the game, it's not easy. It's not easy. I know it's not easy for players, to be tough. We're trying to create tough players right now with the
Mhm.
Padres organization. We want tough players, maybe tough player at the play, but mentally it's gonna tough. It's gonna tough to make that happen. I think it's a process.
Yep.
It won't be. It's like it took me a few years, maybe 3 4 years to become a tough mental player. So I believe depends on how much information we get to that player. It will take some time. It's gonna be like a step by step. Like, hey man, whatever happened tonight, it's just part of the game. It's gonna happen and again and again and again. You got to stay positive. Even this is like people call like game of failure, but it for me is, yeah, it is a game of failure, but it's a game of opportunity. It's a game of opportunities too, because you're gonna have another chance and another chance. Obviously at the end, if you weren't able to make it happen, it's sadly it's just gonna go different ways. But it's just part of the game. So it's kind of tough. But I mean,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
mean, I've been, yeah,
you go. You're the guest.
okay, yeah. I have a lot of players there that have a hard time, being tough mentally because they were so talented. They couldn't believe they weren't able to success. They were thinking that was impossible for them, but they hit reality. Like everybody else. Not even in this game, just in life. When you
Mhm.
hit reality and you sit down, like, okay, this is not the way I was thinking it was gonna be. Then that's when you really, as a person, you really start saying like, okay, I got to take it easy. I just got to do it again today, and do it again and do it again, and that's how that process is gonna grow for them.
Excellent, excellent. You mentioned plan. Plan seems to be part of that process. So, like prior to a game, there's a game plan, or prior to a series, there's a game plan you guys put together. Is it individually as hitters?
No, no, we try. I mean, we try to get it as a group, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be, the best plan you had for yourself. Like you will know what type of hitter you are. Obviously, not at the beginning of your career. When we have guys in Dominican Summer League, and we got guys in the Rookie Bowl, we really don't have much information about the team we're gonna face.
Hmm.
It's kind of hard, even in these days that
It's
we
like
have
high
so much.
school, yeah, like high school and college almost. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Yes. It's just the same way. We might have a little more information than college or high school, but at the end of the day, it's not much. So that's when you really have to figure it out how you're gonna approach that guy. Because let's say, it's a lefty today, and we have no idea. He might just get signed. He might get signed from the draft, from July draft, or who knows.
Yeah.
But when they're coming from college or high school, some of the guys know them. Like, oh yes, I faced this guy. I know he was like okay slider. Then soon
Mhm.
he got nasty slider. Like, well, I guess he moved on from that. So it's kind of hard. But when they start moving on, you know, it's different. When they hit low A, high A, then double A, it's a whole different level. Double A, we have like kind of the same information that the big leaguers have, maybe a little less for sure. But then we try to create a plan for the team, you know, team plan, team approach. This is how we're going to attack this guy. But here's when things are different, like when we are the half season, at least half season through the season, the full season, that's when they say here we face a lot the Oakland A's, we face a lot the Houston Astros.
Mhm.
Obviously they're not gonna work me the same time they did last time.
Yeah.
So then you start learning from that a little bit. Like let's say you have a great series and you win 8 for 12. Definitely it's not gonna be the same way. They're not gonna pitch you the same way. But at the same time, I will have a meeting. I will have my hitters meeting. Maybe before BP or right after BP. When they're fresh. I normally like to do it before BP because they're fresh. Like they relax. They're not thinking about anything. And then I throw some information there for them. Like, hey, this guy, have a high percentage slider, but he doesn't throw for strike.
Mhm.
So let's stay with the fastball. Let's attack this fastball. Let's see what happens. If he got the slider that night, well, we got to make the adjustment. All depends on what he has, but this is what we're gonna go through that night, and hopefully he stay with that according plan that we have. If not, that they know that they have to make an adjustment. But at the end of the day, the plan, the best plan for any hitter will be stick with the fastball in case, or if you're facing different guys, slow guys, and it's another whole different history.
Sure. Now, what's interesting about all this is, with the young levels, I mean, without levels, obviously they say,
Hmm.
hitting starts, when the pitcher's warming up, you could look at him. If it's a bullpen, you could see him.
Right.
Then when he's warming up on the mound, in a game, during that time, you
Hmm.
should always be watching him, trying to time him and all that. And that's all great and dandy. I think that's fantastic. I think
Yeah.
we need to teach kids that. But at the same time now, let's say a lot of our coaches who don't see these teams that much,
Hmm.
sometimes does your game plan happen after the first at bat also? And what I mean by that is
Hmm.
you might go in with your plan, say, look, fastball, obviously you don't know this guy
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Trust. But let's say after the at bat is over, now maybe you got an idea what to do next
Hmm.
time. Every time you hit off this guy.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point because not even a young hitter have a hard time with this. Older hitters have a hard time with this
Hmm.
because they feel safe when you give them a plan.
Yeah.
They feel better. They feel good about themselves. They get a little confidence. But soon that we have, okay, let's say we're facing Pedro Martinez tonight. Oh, Pedro Martinez not throwing tonight. Someone else
Yeah.
from low A is coming and pitch tonight. They
Yeah.
freak out.
Wow.
They freak out. It's like, come on, guys, why are you gonna freak out? I mean, oh, because I don't know what he has. I don't know how hard he throw. Yeah, we know. I mean, that information we had it here.
Yeah.
We know how hard he throw, but like you say, at some points I always tell them like, yeah, okay, we don't have nothing on this guy. Who's leading off? You're gonna be our plan. You're gonna give your report. After you're at bat, if you see one pitch, well, we won't get much. But we had three hitters. The first inning, three hitters to figure it out what we're gonna do against that guy. So that was a great point because I always kind of like it's funny for me because I tell them like don't panic, it's just another guy. We don't know that guy. That's the only difference.
Early on you said also you talk about relationships. Um,
Hmm.
talk a little bit about how you build the relationship, that it takes time, but what happens if you have them for a very short time? That's not easy either.
Hmm. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. The way I do it, honestly, I start in the off season. Even if I don't gonna have those players playing for me,
Yeah.
that year or the next year, I always start. Soon the year's over, we're going instructionally. I got the chance to meet a ton of players like I didn't know before. So I go to our office and get all the phone informations or emails or whatever, and I start to test them. When I'm back home, I spend some time at least during the week. I pick a day to test everybody. Hey, how you doing? This is Coach Raul Padron. How are you? They get surprised, like, oh,
Oh, wow.
what's this guy testing me?
Yeah.
So, and then that's how I try to create my relationship with them because honestly, when we get to spring training, it's no time, Peter. There's no time for that. Yes, like we move and go here, go there, and throw BP here, throw some soft stuff here. Let's do this real with this guy, and it's like it's no chance to talk. It's not a time to ask him like, how's your family doing? Like you got any sisters? Like it's like everything is on the clock. And that's how it starts. I start in the off season, so they get to know me a little bit. With the players that I had before, it's a little issue because they know me already. But when I have a player coming from another league, maybe for a lower level that I never met before, that's tough. Because these days players are hard to make you trust. Or it's hard for them to trust someone,
Hmm.
and I get it. I get it. But when I don't know when you play, when I play, I trust my coach no matter what.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore.
Well, they got a lot
It's like,
of technology in their hands. A lot of, they can go
yes,
search and hear different things from different people.
yeah, they can go to Twitter. Oh, but I'm reading this, and all that stuff. So that's kind of hard. So I have my experience with that. My first year as a hitting coach, I have three guys that came up to high A, and I didn't know them, and it was so tough for me, because it was hard to approach them. I mean, not like friendly. Friendly was fine, but it's like a game talk, like I was trying to help them, but they were like a little uncomfortable because it was like, I don't know if this guy is good enough, like. But and then after that year, I started, asking my boss, like, hey, I need everybody's phone number, email, whatever you want to give me. I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna start a relationship from now. So that's how I try to build that base from to my players.
Love it. Love it. Hey,
Yep.
a lot of times in ball games, you hear this a lot from players. You know how players are. We're all the same way.
Yeah.
So we make a couple outs, we start to think something's wrong. But what when a player comes back in the dugout early on, what do they normally say to you when they make an out and they're not happy about it? What do they ask you most of the time?
Yeah, I mean, they're all different. You got some guys where they come back to dugout that they stay positive. They just gonna go like, oh, I just swing a bad pitch. They're honest to themselves,
Oh,
but you
so
don't
they
see
know
that
what
too
they
often.
did. Yeah.
Yep, yep. You don't see that too often. Then you got those guys very rarely. Like they are honest to themselves. Yeah, I was just a little late. I'll be fine this time. They asked me like, do you agree to that? I said yes, 100%. You got that right. Okay, just don't think about it anymore. Put that in the past.
Yeah.
Then you got the guys where they come into the dugout. They put their bat down, helmet down, and they and they go right next to me. Like, what do you see? What am I doing?
Right. What did I do wrong? Right.
Yeah.
Something in my
Why
mechanics.
did I miss that pitch?
Yeah.
Why? I got this question before, like, why I didn't hit that ball out of the ballpark?
Right.
I was like, what?
Wow.
You
Wow.
know, you get ton of different opinions, from hitters,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things for a coach that we have to teach them. Like, hey, man, after a bat, if you have a doubt of what happened, come ask me if you need to, because if you know what you did wrong, stay calm. Like, if you want to ask me, hey, do you think the same way? Yes, I got you. I was just that, because it's hard to make them make adjustment in the game. Like, maybe the toughest thing that I can say is like, hey, man, just see the ball up, see it up. You'll be fine. Because and then if I start talking to them in the game, that game is over.
Done.
That game is over for them.
Here. Yeah.
Yes, like your head is gonna start thinking, and then you go next at bat, send result, next at bat, send result until the next day. So that's one of the hardest thing for a hitter, because you're always there for them. You know, you always are gonna be there for them. I always give them some love. Even if they give me that that question like why I didn't hit that ball out of the ballpark.
That's
I always,
right.
you know,
Right. That's pretty confident when you say something like that.
oh yeah, oh yes, oh yes. But it's like, sometimes I tell them, well, you probably just, we're a little on there, whatever. But it's easy to say like, why I didn't hit that ball out.
Yeah, and think about it. I think we all underestimate it. Think about you can have great timing, a great swing, and all you got to do is miss it by a tenth of
But it
a.
hurt.
If you take a dime, a tenth of that,
Yep.
just missed it by that much, and you're gonna, possibly make it out. But it doesn't mean you did anything wrong.
Yep. Yep. Totally right. But that's the thing, again, with the younger hitter, they think they did everything wrong, and then it's like I just try to keep them in a positive way. It's, hey man, you're gonna be fine. You got another at bat. Let's go. You might get two bases loaded, no outs. Okay. So this at bat doesn't matter anymore. Okay. But and then they go to the video, say, oh man, you were right. you know, I just missed down for this. It's like, yeah. But then that's part of that process too, like that's where relationship comes back again, like, because we were having a good relationship before the spring training start. And then then you will have a little time in spring training. Then they're asking like, hey, how's your brother, how's Michael doing, like real quick. Oh no, he's doing good. Oh nice, okay, let's back to work. And then right after that game, whenever that happened, he's like, "Oh man, you were so right," and I'm a dumb, like why I keep thinking this way, and then from now on, after that stuff happened to the hitter, as a coach, this is gonna be a whole different guy for the next couple months,
Yeah.
because that my job is done. Like he finally recognized and figured out, like, okay, it was me. It was nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And then he might don't go 10 for 10, but then he's gonna pull the ball and play. He's gonna be more relaxed. He's gonna trust himself a little more, and that's what relationship make happen. Like it's huge. It's something that I think is one of the biggest thing for a coach to have with the players. Like have feeling and build that great relationship. Even after the games, I go out with them, have a dinner. You know, I go with them to the gym. Normally coaches go to the gym separate.
Sure.
I try to go with them. I try to compete with them. Like, yeah, I'm lifting this and you cannot. Like things like that. Lead by example, right?
Yes.
And I think that's been working for me. And in a really good way with all our players.
I was just thinking, when you were talking, you said we're building relationships, and in doing that, you get to know these guys really well. Have you ever? I mean, and I'm taking to the extreme just for some fun, but have you ever had a like
Hmm.
if a hitter comes in, he's doing good, okay, and he says to you, "Hey, coach, what did I do wrong? Get out of here." I mean, just kind of because personality wise he can handle it. I wouldn't do that.
Yep. Yep.
Sometimes you got to just let figure out ways to get them to relax. No.
Yes, 100% agree. It's another great point. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes a guy is doing great. He might go 0 for 3. It's like, what I'm doing wrong. It's like, get out of here. You okay. You're doing good. Okay, and then they start laughing. That for them is huge. You give them a little joke. You know,
Have you
and
challenged them? Have you challenged them before with anything?
yes, yes, we do, man. We have a lot of. We're trying to practice fast. We're trying to practice like a real game, And for some players, let's say for the older, not too old, it's a little hard. But for the new players, now they know this is coming, so they feel okay with that. But yeah, I mean, we honestly, I keep my arm in really good shape because I love this drill that I do with my hitters. Depend on when they like it, if they like it for early work or right after BP or before the game. When we play at home, we call it road to the big list. If the game is at 7, we start road to the big list at 6 to 6:30. Whatever they need. If they need, machine, arm, flips, soft stop, whatever. But in this case, I love the drill where I'm the pitcher and they're gonna have one at bat against me before the game, one or two at bats,
Yep,
a
love
real at bat. Like and really throwing the ball and really spanning some pitches. And when I started doing that, that was like 3 years ago. It was the different on our hitters. It was totally different because the feedback from them was like, "Man, I was ready first at bat."
that.
You strike me out of the cage.
Yeah.
But guess what? I was ready in this at bat and getting my knock. But as that's something that we're trying to implement. I know it's not easy because I mean, we got older coaches and we got some coaches that don't have that their arm is a little crampy, things like that.
Oh yeah.
But I love that because the machine. Some guys like the machine. So we have 2 cages. I have a machine in one cage, and I have myself throwing in the other cage. It's pretty much like you will see maybe 1 or 2 guys against the machine, but the rest is gonna be against me. Like maybe one pitch, like one pitch, because they know it's 0-0 count. Okay, here we go. Maybe I go fastball in, they crush it. Thank you. They're done. Then I have 2 guys that they're a little struggle. They will have more than 3 at bats. Like where they feel like, okay, now I'm ready to crush you. I can't be letting this happen. Because I go shorter distance too, and it's not like I'm going full bullpen against them. No, it's like short distance. It's hard to react, hard to recognize the slider, hard
Mhm.
to recognize the changeup. So it's very tough. It's very. I would love to have. I mean, if I have that when I was playing, it's amazing. I got to compete 20 minutes before the game. When it becomes real. So I go in with some confidence at the play. So that's one of the things that I like to do before the game.
You guys have an advantage, and I love that. You have an advantage because you have video, and sometimes you have higher speed videos, maybe of different angles and
Hmm.
all that. When you start looking at, and I'm talking about during the season, especially when a player starts to struggle, um, that that struggle could happen even at 5 at bats because you may see something just doesn't look right, or because a guy could also have 25 at bats and still not be doing well, but hitting the ball hard.
Hmm.
When do you determine what's really the main focus and what the change is? If it's going to be mechanical, if it's going to be mental, how do you determine that? I guess I'm trying to help the coaches out.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one. When you have guys that they think they struggle, like you said, but they're hitting the ball hard. I mean, it's not really a struggle time for him. It's a struggle, yes, in the mind for sure, because you've been crushing the ball. You got no love from the baseball right now, and in that point, it's tough for us to keep them in the track. He might stay there by himself for 3 days. Depending on who it is, but after those 3 days, if the fourth day nothing good happened to him, oh, it is about to get struggle for him,
Hmm.
like real struggle, so we really have to be careful with that, like we really have to stay positive with guys hitting the ball good and have no love from the baseball. As a coach, you really have to be careful with this. It's like you got to do your best to keep him out of the cage, like early work, maybe a little one day early work. Hey, you're doing great, man. You look good. Let's take a look at this video. See, you crush that baseball. There's nothing else you can do. It's part of the game. Okay,
Yeah.
so keep hitting the ball right. They're gonna fall at some point. You might broke your back. Boom, base hit. That's it. You know, the slung is over. But and then you got the other guys. Where they really struggle. That's like, for me, it's the easy one. Because
Yeah.
not easy, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna help him. He's gonna let me help him, because we're gonna go to the videos. We're gonna go to see what percentage at the ball at balls in the strike zone he's swinging, or balls out of the zone. That's the first thing I do with struggles hitters. Okay, so why is that? Well, because you might be thinking I'm struggle because I'm doing something wrong with my mechanics, or or my hands are not working right, or I'm dropping my shoulders or whatever. But the thing is, like, you're swinging like 80% of balls out of the strike zone.
Yeah.
And then when you show them that, it is like they were like, okay, yeah. I mean, this is not like on a struggle.
Yeah.
I got to swing a better pitches. And then timing's coming back. Let's work in your timing. Let's do some tracking. Okay. And then one of the things that I like to do is like, don't take a look at the pitcher. Tell the catcher, hey, he's coming. Without knowing what's coming, unless it's inside pitch. So when we do that in the bullpen, I want them to say yes or no. Like, I wanted to see how far they seen the ball before it gets to the plate. Yes means it's a good pitch, and no, it's a bad pitch. And that's so tough for them. When you get
Because
those guys,
sometimes they're almost calling it right in front of home plate, which is real late.
yeah, where they don't got chance,
Right.
and that's where my points come. Like,
Good point.
they go like, no, it's like, you late.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it again. Yes, you're late again.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah, you're saying yes, like when the ball is on top of yourself.
Have you tried inside outside? Because that could be weird too. Like sometimes the ball might be outside and they actually call inside.
Yes, we have, like, we have, because we've been doing that since, let's say, with the outside inside, maybe 2-3 years already.
Yeah. I love
And
that.
Yeah, it's huge, and we have a big league hitters doing that. You know, it's like outside, inside. You
Yeah.
know, it's
You
like
gotta
it's even
call it
better.
as soon as possible. You got to call it.
Yeah, yeah. You got to call that like soon as possible. Even
Yeah.
halfway, you got to know what that ball is.
Yeah.
So that's when they start learning how to see the ball as well. You know,
Yeah. I love it.
going back to my point at the beginning, like, oh my god, I'm seeing the ball right now.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, we have done many of those reels without swinging the bat.
Right.
You know, we have one cage just to see the ball, like see. We put numbers on the play. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then they got to call the number, and someone is the umpire right behind them. You know, we have a little table on the ground with numbers. So, and we have some of the players. Hey, you're gonna be the umpire. You got to be honest to your teammate, okay? And then they go, okay, the ball's coming. It's fastball. 3, 5. The umpire is calling 5. It wasn't 3.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, they want more people to come see
Yeah.
because they don't
But
believe
become
it.
competitive now. It's competition.
Yeah,
Yeah, because guys love competition.
they love competition. They love competition. And again, you know, we try to practice fast. We're trying to add many competition we can. You know, during the season, maybe not, but spring training, yes. During the season, sometimes let's say double A, you got to go like show and go. You know,
Yeah.
you know, we won't have time to do much. But when we're home, we're trying to create at least one, let's say twice a week, a competition. Now we have so much technology, we can use the rat soda on the ground, and okay, let's play the match at Sevilla wins a gift card.
Yeah.
You know, and then they start that competition, which is nice because that fastball's coming at you like really fast. So it's good for them.
Well, we'll talk about this because, um, when we look at professional baseball, Latin players don't go in the draft, okay, in Latin America. But if the draft in the old days had 1,200 players, if you compare that to the Latin players signed, which is about 300 to 400, that's almost a third of the
Mm-hmm.
draft. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
great players coming to Latin America, and two of the biggest countries are Dominican and Venezuela. I bring that
Mm-hmm.
up because I want you to talk to the American, especially our American players, our younger players, and it can relate to anybody. Two things. One, why so many great baseball players coming out of these countries? What what
Yeah.
what are they doing when they're kids that are different that we're not doing here in the States? And also related, we'll get into the hitting part. What are they doing there hitting wise? But they
Mm-hmm.
can't. They got to be doing more than just swinging a bat or something else.
Yeah, that's a great question, Peter. It's I mean, in the Latin countries, like I explained that here to the, you know, I do some lesson and all that stuff with kids here. And one of the things that Latin kids are doing is like it's playing baseball, it's working pretty much all day long. You know, like some of those kids don't have the money to go to school.
Right.
You know, so I mean they just hit it hard in baseball. Dominican, you know, like almost they since they the day they burned that have a glove. Yeah,
Yeah.
put that
And look
glove in
at
your
the field.
hand.
Yeah.
You know, and let's go out in the field. But you know, talking in general is different because I tell you why. You know, right now for a Latin player, their top age to sign, you know, in July draft, whatever they're doing right now, is 16 years old. You know, it's super young.
Young.
You know, so that means like those kids are starting to work when barely 10, 11 years old. They're just kids. But guess what? They're starting to put in like a real work on it, you know, like I said, real work behind that. You know, like they will have a training conditioning, you know, explain to them how to run, how to move themselves, a lot of stretch daily, you know, and then they have a conditioning guy, and then they have a weight room for them where they're gonna hit it. I mean, not like crazy.
This is your minor league guys in
Hmm.
Venezuela, let's say, right?
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
about what about your younger guys, the young kids, like when you were a kid, the
Hmm.
things you did that made you a better player? Um, there's got to be a lot of things you guys do that it's not done here in the States.
Yeah, I mean, I think. You know what? It's very similar. What is not similar is the day we spend on the field.
Ah,
We
yeah,
are on the field every single day.
yeah, that's the difference.
Maybe not Sunday, but
But
other than that, it's every
not
day.
always playing games. You practicing a
Nope.
lot too.
No. We practice a lot. We practice a lot. We have some tournaments, as well. But most of the time we're practice. We have a ton of practice. Like we work so hard. It's like if we don't get this done, we won't move on, or we don't play that tournament that weekend.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So they want to play. They want to push. For them to play that tournament. So it's a little pressure behind it already. For a kid, it's you pressure them to be better, so you're gonna be able to play the weekend. So it's definitely different. Like that way. It's playing. It's just being in the field every day. It's something else.
Yeah, and the other thing is, here you are. Okay, you signed at 16. I know you can't you start playing pro ball at 19. Um,
Hmm.
you come in the States, you're used to some pretty good fields. Now in Latin America, the major league teams have good fields there, but a lot of these kids don't come from the good fields prior to that. They come from all kinds of different fields. So I
Yep.
mean, really not that intimidated. All of a sudden, when you're on a real nice field, must be too easy.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I will put myself as a sample. I grew up in a field where where you might hit a ground ball, that ball is gonna hit me in the face first before I catch it.
Right.
We don't have those those facilities to work. You got to work in your backyard, and it might be dirt, it might be rocks.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you want to get out of there. You want to grow. You want to help your family. You want to help your mom to buy a house. You want to help your brother to go to school
A
if
lot
he
of pressure.
doesn't play baseball. A lot of pressure behind it. And it's different, because there's you got to be tough. You got to be tough to be able to do that. And then you start seeing all those kids around you. They're like, it doesn't matter what happened. They're gonna go out there that day, every single day. Like without any excuses.
Yeah.
you
And
know.
talk about a motivation. I mean, you don't need to be motivated. That's going to motivate you just knowing that you got to take care of your family.
Yes.
You had Tatis Jr. for a few years in the minors. Um, it's interesting to find out from a hitting standpoint, the great hitters, and obviously he's going to be a great hitter for a long time. Um, what's special about them? Is it their high skilled vision? Is it what is it? What makes the difference between that really best hitter?
Thing, well, this kid, man, this is one of those kids that you would say, well, I guess I'm gonna see this kid once, and then I don't know how many years. That type of player that he is. I think that one of the huge thing for he grow up watching baseball with his dad.
Yeah,
That thing that give him a lot of options on the field. Like he grew up watching baseball. He grew up listening to baseball players, to big leaguers. The knowledge he have on the field is unbelievable.
wow.
It's natural. It comes natural. That knowledge is that confidence. I think that's why he makes him good. Confidence. The confidence he has is hard to see in anyone. It's so tough.
And because as far as swings are concerned, I mean, as far as speed of the swing or the vision, most of these guys are at the most. If you get to the major leagues, you've got pretty good vision and you got pretty good bat speed, I would think, if
Hmm.
you're going to survive. So the mental part must really get into that. When you say, he believes he's really good, that mental part is so important. Um, that's got to be developed when you're younger, no?
Yes, yes. No doubt. I think that he developed that like very very young, at a very young age. He it's no way that that's gonna come just like by magic. It's very tough. He definitely delivered that when he was little, and the way he handled games is just something else. It's just obviously he had having some hard times when I had him. Like he was like he wanted to be good every single night. Like he wanted to be the best player ever every single night. But when that didn't come for him, then he was kind of down. He came down a little bit. He wasn't that guy like you see on TV. Like it doesn't matter what's gonna happen. It's gonna be the same guy every night. But he had his hard. He had his tough time as well. Minor league. He always kind of started slow the seasons. Minor league. First month it was kind of slow start for him. Everybody panics. But and he was one of those kids that they were saying like they think I'm gonna be sucked this year. He was so competitive and he still is. I don't know if you see like, oh, he might be able to play in the outfield because he won't be a shortstop. So this year he won one of the best shortstop, and then he said in Twitter like, "Yeah, people say I wasn't able to do this." The more you challenge him, the better he's gonna get.
Yes,
Yes.
that's interesting. And we got about 2, 3 more minutes here. And when I look at Tatis, I know one of the big controversy was the bat flip. I've talked about it on the show before. I think the game needs a little flair, a little
Yeah.
pickup. With to extreme, not too much, but
Yeah.
let's loosen up a little bit more. But
Hmm.
but I don't think he was doing that in the minors, right? I mean, that's probably in the big leagues only, right?
Well, tell you
No,
what, um,
he was
he
confident,
kind
huh?
of does it. Yeah, he was so confident in the
Yeah,
minors. Every team knew, like when they were facing us at the beginning when we started the season. This is when he was with me. He was kind of struggle. It was kind of cold. Texas League got a little cold in the beginning. You go to Springfield and you go to Frisco. Frisco's kind of cold too. He was having a hard time with that temperature thing. And then, like I say, again, that relationship. I took him to theaters. I took him to fish. We were together fishing and all that, and I used that the whole time, maybe few minutes to throw something about baseball. You know, just coming from out of nowhere, boom, there you go. You're gonna deal with this in the big leagues. You want to play in the big leagues? Yeah, the big leagues gonna be very cold. The World Series, you know that. Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. Because he was like a little sensitive, believe it or not. He was a little mental, he's tough. He was tough, but he was a little sensitive.
sure.
So, it was a challenge for me because, everybody expecting him to do good no matter what, as a coach, you got a lot of pressure behind it. So he was having a lot of people saying a lot of things to him, and the organization. So we make a call in a conference call. I told him like, hey, leave it all to me. What do you think about him? Okay, perfect. What do you think, Pete, about him? Perfect. Don't worry, I will put it all together, okay? But I will do it on my way.
Hmm.
And they all went like, everybody was quiet. It's like, okay, Raul, go for it.
Wow.
Since that day, everything was different. He
Yeah.
didn't feel any pressure from anyone. No one was calling him. No one was texting him. No one was asking him what was going on. Since that day, he was just a totally different kid. He expressed whatever he was feeling with me to his dad because his dad is number one hitting coach for the rest of his life. But what was funny? It was like we were talking about something that day, and then the next day he come to me and say, "Damn, my dad just said whatever you said to me last night." Same stuff we were talking about. He mentioned the same stuff, and I was like, "Yes, now we're on the right track." Like, and then that's when he started becoming a whole different player. Like it wasn't matter if he goes 0 for 5 or for 10. He knew he was gonna be able to come back and do it again and hit the ball hard and had success.
All right, now I'm gonna throw you a little curveball here. Not that people know on the show we don't send questions out ahead of time.
Hmm.
Like to have a nice discussion, have some fun doing it. But you know, I'm a coach now that doesn't speak Spanish. Obviously, I need to try to learn some Spanish or key words.
Hmm.
What's your advice to some of these coaches that now I have to work with a Latin player that one, you don't speak Spanish? Now, I'm going to throw this in.
Hmm.
I love being around Latin players. Love it. And number one, why? They're always happy. Okay, they're always smiling.
Yeah, yeah,
There's and they have energy. They're not sitting there, worried. They may be worried, but they just don't show it.
yeah.
But as a coach, what do I do? How do I if I see something, how do I handle it? Especially if I'm the hitting coach, I don't speak a lot of Spanish.
Hmm. I mean, it's tough. It's a great question. Um, for me, I would say for a Latin player with an American coach, give them a hug.
Ah,
Hug them a lot. Give them some love because it's different culture.
yeah,
You know, Americans don't do that. They yes, we did. You know, we hug and all that, but Latins are different.
yeah,
You know, they love when you give them your hand, you chase their hand and you give it a hug. What's up, man? How you feeling today? You know, that's
yeah,
how you're gonna start everything. You know, soon that he sees that, like, oh, what's going on with this guy? You know, like they don't expect that ever.
yeah.
You know, and we have these guys that came to our camps to teach our coaches about our Latin culture,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
like how
important.
to deal. Yeah, I mean, exactly your question. We work on that. You know, our coaches work on that stuff. You know, because you might have like, hey, ¿cómo estás? That's all you Spanish. You know, that's all you know. But if he realizes that you feel love for him, like real love, like yeah, you hug him and you know, like you give him two, you hug him in the back, you know, like hey, you get things are gonna be all right, you know, I'll give you, you know, one span in the back and it's okay, go ahead, go get it, you know, like or as a coach when you don't know any Spanish, like hey man, we need to figure this out, even in English, you know, like,
Right.
and then you grab your phone. Now we got technology.
There you
Let's go
go.
to Google Translate. You know, they will appreciate that so much. Like,
Yeah. And it's
man,
very
he's
good.
trying.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying. Even if you don't know any Spanish, you got your Google Translate. You know, hey, this is what I'm trying to tell you, my friend. Okay, here, look. We're gonna look at the video. I'm gonna
Yeah.
put everything on translation, and here we go. And guess what? They're gonna understand everything because you know what? You're not speaking in a different language. You're speaking baseball.
Yeah. Same language.
It's the same language, you know. And they play PlayStation. It's the same language that you're talking.
Yeah.
MLB game. It's the same language that we're talking.
And I think some coaches say sometimes less talking is better, right? So if you know the language too
Yes,
good, sometimes you talk too much.
yes, yes. You might go ahead by yourself and hey, let me give me your bat. Give me your bat. I'm gonna show you. Look at me.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. You know, a lot of Latin players learn that way. A lots of them.
Yeah.
Even that I speak Spanish.
I can see that.
Even that I speak Spanish, I grab their bat. Hey, take a look, okay? Take a look at this. Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm talking your same language, you know.
Awesome. I
You
love it.
know.
Raul, this will be great. Last minute advice, like anything about when it comes to hitting with coaches that are working with players. Any advice, I mean, there's a lot obviously to the game of hitting, but something that you want to leave everybody with.
I mean, for a player or coach, had a work ethic, man. You know, keep your work ethic, keep the grow up. You know, like don't stop growing. You know, show you play that you care for them. You know, like you will do whatever it takes to make them better. You know,
Mhm.
like that's one of the biggest things that they've been working for me. It's been awesome because the feedback from the players is awesome. Even if they don't say anything, he's appreciation your help. Like he will appreciate your help. It's like keep your discipline as a coach. You know, if you keep your discipline and your routine and what you do every day, they're gonna follow you. Like I say, lead by example. If you start eating well, healthy, they're gonna see like, why are you eating healthy? You don't play anymore.
Right.
But our job now these days is to lead them because they don't know much. It's too many things going on around our players, around our sons, our daughters, around everybody, around the world. So we need to lead. If we want to be a great coaches, we need to lead. We need to be the best example for them.
Absolutely. Gotta love it. What a great way to end it. Be a leader as a coach. They'll follow you. Hey, Raul, this has been awesome, man. I know hopefully the season will be kicking off soon. You know, the
Yep.
Padres, unbelievable acquisitions. I mean, they've added more players, and that's counting not like what's the right-hander that's hurt?
Oh, Clevenger.
Cleveland. Yeah, that's not even happening.
Yeah.
Look what they added with with the pitcher from the Cubs,
Oh yeah, man.
and then the lefty from the Padres. I mean the
Yeah.
Rays. Padres are gonna. I mean, they're kicking out there. They're still going.
Yes. Yeah, we're expecting a great year, man, a fun year. You know, I think we're gonna be blessed, everybody, and everything's gonna be better this year. And we're gonna have some baseball, even the major leagues and the minor league, but definitely in the major league, we're excited right now. You know, we're looking forward to be in the playoff again and compete for that ring. You know, for that World Series champion, man. That would be awesome. That would be great. I mean, we've been adding the right pieces. Hopefully, they stay healthy.
Yeah, and you guys are definitely heading up there. I don't know who's going to be there, but I think you'll be in the finals. The other part, the White Sox might have a little bit to say about that too. The White Sox has really, they've
Yep.
really added. As a matter of fact, and I hate to keep you on, but
No, no, you good.
wasn't Tatis a White Sox first?
Yes, he was.
Right,
Yes,
so we gave him away in Chicago. We
they gave
traded.
him away.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how those trades work.
Yeah. No, but
No
listen,
doubt.
been a thrill. Love that you came on. Great to meet you, folks. The first time I met Raul, so we didn't meet it. We talked maybe 2-3 minutes before the show, and that was it. Then we rock and roll, man. I appreciate it, Raul.
Thank you, Peter. This is awesome, man. And let me tell you something. It's a lot of people around that's listening to your programs. I've been learning a lot from your program because it's always a learning process. It's a never stop learning process, and it's been awesome to hear all your interviews. It's great. So keep it up.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And folks, it's the guests that we have that makes the show. That's what I love about it. I don't know, we hope we had some great guests. We think we've had great guests. And remember, you could always recommend if you've got a guest, somebody that you want to see on the show, send us a message, caliendo19@gmail. All right, Rule. I'm going to say the final words, and then we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, Peter. Thank you so much.
All right, see my man. And that is Raul Padron from the San Diego Padres, AA hitting coach. And I want to thank Raul. I want to thank also our producer, Brian Kroc with the Lineup Media Group. Thank you to everybody in the U.S. and around the world for listening to the show. Don't forget, go to baseballoutsidethebox.com. Also, YouTube, Peter Caliendo. Subscribe. Love that you're with us. Don't forget, stay healthy, be safe, and God bless you. And we'll see you on the next show.